Oh, 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 oh. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Internet. Oh yeah, internet. Oh yeah, internet. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. It's internet. 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 Interbud. What's that ringing noise? What is that? Hello. 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 What is that? I don't know. I'm gonna. Hold on. What's this? Oh, there. Oh, I got the wrong mouse. Oh, I gotta get the right mouse. Oh, internet. Interbud. What up, internet? It's Monday. Oh, I'm so excited, you guys. I'm so excited that it's Monday. Can you tell? Can you tell the fervor in my excitement? My level of excitement. What up? Wushu Jimmy Brown, first one to the chat. Winner, fish dinner. Winner, fish dinner. Yeah. Let's see, the Pickled Placostomus. Hey, FU2 is here. Phil Emerson, what up? The Turtle Girl is here, asking if she was first. No, you was fifth. Fizz-if. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fizz-if. Let's see. Kevin Keener's here. What's up? Frank Dominguez, AMA Aquatics, Emerald Pets, a.k.a. Natasha. Nisi, our moderator extraordinaire. Cookies for Dark, Vince Smith. What's going on? Jordan Leroy, how you doing? Carl Snow. Hola, muchacho. How you doing? Let's see here. The Turtle Girl, like, no, I was first. Like, you gotta be quick. You gotta be quick on the draw. We go hot here. This comes in hot Monday through Friday, 4 o'clock. I don't know what time it is where you live, but right here where I live, the clock says it's 4 o'clock, which means that it's supposed to be 4 o'clock, but who knows? Maybe it's just an ethereal ideal that we have to track time, so we don't show up late for things or whatever. Those real serious appointments that we all get. Ow, what the hell was that? Oh, something got me. Sorry about that. Who did I forget to say hi to? Turbo Fish, what's up, man? I forgot to say hi. Alan Molds. Alan Molds. I like your last name. I don't know how to say it right, but hopefully I'm saying it sort of. Dean H just showed up. What's up? What's going on? I hope everybody out there is having a fantastic Monday. The weather here is delightful or something. I'm not sure. It is, I don't know. It's sort of spottily raining and being that kind of typical fall weather. But I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys. I like this weather a lot better than the 98 degrees and smoky that we were having all summer, so I'm happy to have some clear air. I don't mind the rain so much. I'm out here in Tacoma, Washington. Turtle Girl's asking, where am I in Washington? I'm in Tacoma proper. I'm down here in the pseudo south end. I'm not totally south, but I guess if you're south of Seattle, that counts, right? You end up being south. I think Tacoma's like the first big city, right? I think Tacoma was made before Seattle was made, I think. Could be wrong. I don't know. I gotta brush up on my local history. My history here locally, I guess. But that's where I am at. I love it here. I'm happy to have moved and relocated from Seattle and no longer in the chaos that is that city. It is honestly... It's too much for me. This weekend, we went to the Puyallup Fair. If anybody knows what the Puyallup Fair is, the Puyallup Fair is the state fair here, basically. Well, one of the state fairs. There are two of them. There's the Evergreen State Fair and the Puyallup State Fair. So, like, one's north and one's south. And I bet you there's another one probably east, and someone's going to tell me about it, I'm sure. Somebody will be like, hey, man, you forgot about the Spokane Fair. I bet you there is a Spokane Fair or something like that. But anyhow, the Puyallup one is the close one to us, so we get to go there and see all the award-winning steer and goats. Oh, man, goats for days. All sorts of cool goats to check out, honestly. I don't know that I dig goats, but I dig goats, right? Does that make sense? I dig them, but I've only ever really had brief encounters with them, realistically. And it is, it's always like, what do you call it? It's always they're always a lot of fun to be around. Oh, ow. Well, that was weird. I just snapped like all of my knuckles all at the same time. That was crazy. But I've only ever had like short encounters with goats, so I've enjoyed the short times that I've had with them. So I'm not sure if we're ever gonna want to have goats as of yet. But it was really cool to go to the fair because you get an opportunity to actually check them out. We got to check out milking a goat. That was pretty cool. That was and then you know, a lot of the other goat stuff was all just pretty much like, hey, check out this goat. This one's brown. Oh, this one's black. Oh, this one's tiny. Oh, this one's like faints if you yell at it. Don't do that. Don't yell at them fainting goats, man. You're not supposed to do that. That's that's bad manners. That's poor manners. But that was cool. And I have to say, my favorite part of the Puyallup Fair was the Highland steer. So they actually had a Highland steer, or what's the Highland cows. I don't know if you've ever seen a Highland cow before. It's like a wildebeest mated with a cow, and so like these long-haired cows, and they all have horns, right? So you can't really tell if it's a male or a female until it's too late, you know. So that was my favorite part, mainly because the farmer was there, and so I was just kind of like, oh hey, you could tell me all about these cows here, right? And she actually was a very nice lady and was totally open to answering a lot of my litany of questions that I had. I was like, oh, I got a million questions, and she was super nice because we got there early, honestly, and so I bet by the end of the day it was probably a little bit different if you were going to be interacting with the presenters or whatever you want to call them that were there. Maybe it was a little different for people, but we were there pretty early, so everyone was had a lot of spunk to them and stuff like that. So, and then of course we saw ducks and all that kind of regular stuff. But I guess the reason I brought that up is I'm glad that I moved from Seattle, because the giant crowds of people, they get to me, you guys. I don't know about you guys, but I really it really starts to bother me as the day goes along. It makes it really difficult for me to be around those large crowds of people that really just have no direction. They don't know what's going on. They're just wandering about, and it just starts to make me really uncomfortable. So luckily we got there early. We stayed till about 4 o'clock, and then it was time to go. So it worked out really well, but that was a lot of fun until it just got so crowded that it was just like, oh, we got to go do something else. Vince Smith's asking, did I scream surprises at the goats? You know what? I didn't, but I really should have. Just come busting around the corner and shouted surprises at the goats and just freaked them all out. But I think realistically that would have been pretty rude, honestly, if I had actually done that. But that's a great idea for a video. I might be able to clip something like that together with some barn animals, and not actually like freak out the barn animals, but get some footage of the barn animals kind of freaking out a little bit, and then edit it in like it was me that was freaking them out, I think. So Oh, okay. The Turtle Girl is in Bremerton. I'm in Tacoma, so we're just around the water from each other. We're not that far. Let's see. Tank stands on the side of the road. Oh, Dank Tanks found a 48 by 24 stand on the side of the road. That's a great size stand. Just finding it. G-Bear says it's 91 out there. That's awful. The Ultimate says Minnesota State Fair for the win. I would love to go to the Minnesota State Fair. That would be, that sounds like a lot of fun. We went to the Alaska Fair when we were up there. That was a lot of fun too. Honestly, just the Puyallup Fair was just a sea of people. It just started getting totally crazy. So it was a little bit, it just got a little hectic as the day wore on because it was a Saturday too. And, was quite a bit of craziness. Roger Deadham says there's a heat wave hitting the East Coast. You know what? I did see that on the news. I am sorry that it is so freaking hot over there, guys. You know, all of the conversations that people have about the climate change going on and how it's not happening and it's not happening and it's not happening. And, you know, I hope everybody's okay. I hope we can all, I guess, figure out how to adapt or something or move to northern Canada. I'm not really 100% sure what is going to continue to happen as the climate is changing. So sorry to hear about that. That is rough out there. Dwayne Kitchell is here. What's up, my man? Glad to see that you're here. Trying to catch up. Let's see, Jordan Leroy, with my milk consumption, owning a cow would be cheaper. Yeah, that might be cheaper. Kevin Keener saying, I wish I had enough acreage for a cow. Yeah, I think realistically, so the farmer that I was talking to was actually turning these cattle on quite a bit less property than I was expecting because, so this cattle breeder was actually breeding them for live trade. So it wasn't, these aren't meat cows. These aren't meat cows. These are for basically, you know, if you're going to buy one, you're going to buy one and then breed it, right? So you're actually buying the live cattle for future projects. And I was actually surprised to find out that they are only operating their breeding program on 11 acres, which isn't a huge amount of property realistically if you get down to it. And I believe, hold on, if my memory suits correctly, she said that they were having on average 18 new cows, new moo cows, 18 new moo cows a year, and then they would sell them once they basically are around the year mark. So she said on the average price that they were selling them for was $2,000, which is considerably higher than most cows. Definitely an interesting animal to possibly be breeding and stuff like that. Now, one of the cool things about those cows is that she was saying you could actually train to ride them like a horse. Apparently, they're because the Highland cattle have been used as for pulling wagons for so long that they actually got kind of accustomed to wearing harness and stuff like that, which you can actually convert the harness into a saddle and then just ride them around and stuff. So that would be pretty cool. Kevin Keener's pig breeder had some Highlands on 7 acres and they just upgraded to 20. Oh yeah, so that's like kind of like what I was saying. That's actually just not a huge amount of land to really come across. If that was something that I know a lot of people out there are interested in doing that kind of stuff. I'm super interested in doing that kind of stuff. That's our long-term life goal is to be doing all that stuff, and basically doing our own farming and stuff, which is one of the whole reasons for doing this live stream format that we're doing right now, which seems to be confusing some people. Maybe it's confusing some people. Maybe it's I don't know. But this is the whole thing that we're doing here. And one of the reasons, the way that we fund this thing is the Patreon channel, which I just posted in the chat there. We actually lost a patronizer this weekend. I'm not going to say who it was, but we lost a patronizer, which sucks. But the Patreon page is how we pay to do this show 5 days a week. Is essentially how I'm able to come on here and do this stuff. And one of the long-term goals, like I said, was to do all the farming projects and stuff like that, which this format sort of lends itself to being able to do those kinds of projects, and I'm able to film them. And if anybody that's new here, we do a video segment here in the middle of the show. So this weekend, or today's video, is actually about me finishing the stand for the new 150-gallon aquascape that's going into the fish room here. And let's see, so that's actually going to be the tank that will be having the whatever crystal shrimp we end up getting here to replace the old crystal shrimp that ended up dying in the move. But that 150-gallon tank is going in, and it is in place. I finished the stand this weekend. I finished a lot of the cleaning and stuff like that had to go on today. And so tomorrow's video will actually be me plumbing everything together. So hopefully we'll have a fully comprehensive video of how to plumb an overflow into a sump and all that kind of stuff. I know some people have like, man, he's doing plumbing again. Like, yeah, that's a lot of what I do, is a lot of plumbing and stuff like that. So if anybody is interested in that stuff, that's what will be going on today, and that's what will be going on tomorrow. This is all setting up this 150 gallons of room temperature water that will have shrimp in it eventually. So that's what's going on. Let's see. Kevin Keener saying, I do what I can on 2 acres. Oh, I dig that. 2 acres is pretty good. We're just shy of an acre. Oh, I think we're 0.7 acre here at the new place that we moved to, or 0.6. I think we're like a, no, yeah, 0.7. It's like 0.69 or something acre here. So there's kind of a sizable city property, essentially. We're sort of like in the suburb area a little bit here in Tacoma. Excuse me. Let's see. Dank Tanks gets cow manure from a Black Angus farm every spring and fall for the veggie garden. Ooh, that is good stuff for your garden for sure. Derek Runyon, what is up, man? What's going on? Good to see you. The Lysander, what's up? And Carson Anderson's here. Lost his alternator on I-5 this morning. What a nightmare. That is 100% a nightmare. That is exactly the last place you want your alternator to go out, is on I-5. Oh, I bet you $5 the UPS guy's here. Dropping off something. Dropping off something for Vicky, not for me. I don't ever get the packages. Hey, man! Oh, those little doggies. Let's see. Nick K. Aquatics was asking, anyone dealt with live aquaria? I bought a pair of Apistos from their Diver's Den. They both had Popeye and infections. Trying to get my money back. I wanted to see if they are helpful before I call. Nick K. Yes, I have dealt with them in the past quite a few times. If you go ahead and document what happened, that you just got the box in, this is what's going on, for sure give them a call, and more often than not, they'll sort out a solution for you. I actually got some fish from them. At one point in time, I had 2 dead on arrival. The rest made it. They actually just ended up refunding me the 2 fish that didn't make it. All the other times that I got stuff from them, everything made it fine with no problems. But that one time I did have a problem. I was on the phone with them. They just needed to verify who I was, all that kind of stuff. And then what had happened, what had gone on. Really good company. That's one of the cool things of dealing with a giant company like that, is that they can answer the phone. They can work out some kind of resolution for you. If you know what I mean. Maybe not everybody's 100% happy with whatever the resolution is, but you'll get some kind of resolution. You won't just get dead stare, from some dead black cold eyes, He's got charcoal for eyeballs. So yeah, I would, Live Aquaria is actually pretty cool for that reason. Tanks a Lot is here. what's going on. Wish you luck and resolution for that. Yeah, I think it should work out. It should work out. It's sad that they don't make it. And you know, when I talked to them on the phone, they were actually concerned that they hadn't made it. So the pickle plus placostomus, cool. I want to learn how to set up an overflow system. Cool. So we'll be doing that. We'll be doing that tomorrow. Getting all that plumbing in and getting all that done, because I am stoked to get this tank going. And so this whole week, as some of you know, the schedule, at one point in time, I'm going to post the schedule. It's kind of loose, kind of a loose schedule right now. I've just got it written down on a you know, yellow piece of, just clanking around every time I move this thing. Sorry about that. So the current schedule that we have is Mondays for plants. Obviously today we've kind of pushed the plant stuff to later in the week. Tuesdays is normally reef rock and equipment. Obviously that's going to be the plumbing and stuff tomorrow. Wednesdays is normally hardscape, wood, rock, substrate, which actually is going to fall in line this week, because Wednesday I'm going to be talking about substrates. We're going to talk about all the driftwood, all that kind of stuff, and I'll be actually putting all that into the 150 on Wednesday. And Thursday is generally construction and all that kind of stuff, where I build lights and do all that kind of nonsense or whatever. But I think the plants will probably be on Thursday. We'll probably start doing some plants into the 150 on Thursday. So that's the schedule this week. And then Friday is sort of a freestyle Friday, ask me anything, whatever kind of dealy mabobber. So that's sort of our schedule right now. Hey! Hey! What are you dogs doing? Just got to check up on the dogs, make sure they're doing all right. You know what I'm saying? So that will be going on. Yeah. Carson says Biddy Brown versus the Brown Van Man. Yes, exactly. Those dogs go bananas when they get here. Nick K says, thanks. He's not a complainer, but I feel like I should give them a call. Yes, for sure. Call them and you'll get something. Well, there'll be some kind of resolution for sure. Rurutu, looks like there's a chick staring at you. I mean, when isn't there, right? You know, it's just like, I put all this together, you know, whoa. So let's see. Oh, yeah, Rurutu can get your own chick to stare at you over at Darkstar Arts. That is another way to help contribute here, is if you go over to darkstararts.com, maybe you're interested in a commissioned piece that you want me to make, which is one way, or the other way is to click through the Amazon banner at the top of the page and just go buy whatever you want at Amazon, and it just basically tells Amazon that we sent you, if that makes sense. It doesn't change the price or anything like that. So that's one way you can support. The super easy free way to support is to go come here and you know, throw down some likes and some shares. Share it out on Facebook or Instagrams or MySpace or America Online or whatever thing you guys like doing these days. What is it, Beam? Oh no, Beam failed. Sorry, we can't talk about Beam. It failed. No, I think it didn't fail. I think it made Casey Neistat a ton of money, which I think was the whole goal. But let me think. I'm trying to think. Snapchat. You guys could Snapchat it out there. I think that's one. I think that's one that still sort of exists, right? But you know, that's the easy free way to help support if that's what you guys want to do. It's the free way, you know. So let's see. Carl Snow's trying to fight the tiredness. Must watch stream. Can't fall asleep, or that crazy clown will get you if you fall asleep, right? If you fall asleep, that crazy clown will come get you. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen it yet, so don't spoil it for me. It's a remake. I'm pretty sure it ends the same way as the other one, though. So let's see here. Let me catch up with what's going on over here. Nick K. Aquatics, odd question. I know you do carpentry. I'm looking at buying a new truck. I normally stick to Chevy, but considering Ford, any opinions on which is more reliable in the 2008 to 2014 range? Honestly, from 2008 to 2014, from Toyota, Chevy to Ford, those are all going to be honestly just about the exact same truck. They all have pretty much the exact same model. They just have different badges and names on them. For instance, I was driving a Toyota Tundra around, and it got terrible gas mileage. But if you go underneath it, you're like, oh yeah, I recognize that. I recognize that. I recognize that. My good buddy B-Rad was here yesterday, and we were actually talking about a lot of that stuff. With the newer cars, they're almost the exact same vehicle. They just have a different skin on them. So I would look at gas mileage would be the first thing that I would look at in buying any vehicle at this point in time. Any kind of warranty, if you're gonna get a warranty, I would check for that. Towing capacity and any of the features that you're really looking for realistically would be the easiest way to shop, especially within your price range, whatever your price range may or may not be. They're almost all the exact same truck, honestly. And I know that that there are a lot of people out there, like Dwayne. It's like, found on road dead, fix or repair daily. I drive a Ford. I mean, I drive a 20-year-old Ford truck, and it's fine, So I don't really, it's like me being a Seahawks fan and being like, the Patriots suck, man. The Patriots suck because they're not from Seattle. They're both football teams, and they're doing the exact same thing. It's just... you happen to be a fan of one or the other. Essentially, those companies are all competing with each other, and they're basically cross. For us to imagine that the car companies are actually competing with each other, one of them would have to come out with some kind of new product, like Tesla. Tesla is a completely different product from the other vehicles that are kind of out there. So it seems to be the one outlier compared to all the other car companies out there. But they do collaborate with each other to make sure that they don't send out just too many good things on the new vehicle, right? Because their goal is to make a vehicle that's just bad enough that you'll have to buy a new one in between 6 and 8 years. That realistically that's their goal. But yeah, so let's not get sidebarred with car talk, because we're not a car talk show or a football show, even though my Seattle Seahawks yesterday went out to Tennessee and failed at footballing and managed to lose the game. And those of you out there that are big fans of the X and O's, luckily it was Luckily, it was actually a pretty good game. There were a lot of things happening in the football game, so it wasn't a snooze fest like we had the week before. So, so that was a good thing. Even though we lost, it was still a good game. So I definitely enjoyed that for sure. I know a lot of people aren't football fans. Let's refrain ourselves from bitching about football. I happen to be a football fan. I'm a fan of the sport. I don't play the sport. I don't hang around a lot of the bad attributes of football fanery. I know there are a lot of people out there that want to kill each other and choke people out, or what. It's just nonsense. But I am a big fan of the sport, and I do enjoy watching it. And it is. I'm super happy to watch football, especially because there's 16 games. They come on Sunday. It's just this time of the year. It's one game a week. That it's fantastic. It fits in with me. It fits in with me being able to watch a game. You know what I'm saying? If I was a real baseball fan, I can't do it. There's a million games. There's like 100 million, 1,000 million games, and I can't do it. I can't figure it out how to be a fan of baseball. Even though we go to baseball games, it's just impossible to follow. It's just too much. So one of the great things I like about football, it's a 3-hour period. It happens once a week. All the football happens. Of course, you have to watch a million commercials, which is kind of a downside, but it just happens once a week, and I really enjoy it. And it definitely is this strategy game, which a lot of people out there don't like the personalities and stuff like that, which I get. I totally understand that. It makes sense to me. But I enjoy the sport itself, so it is pretty good. And you know, I like baseball too. I can't follow it. It's impossible. I just do not have time. I do not have time to follow that sport. I love hockey. I have the same problem with hockey. It's like there's 82 games. The season's 7 months long. Or no, it's not. Is it 82 games? I don't. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know. But there's just too many games. It's just too many games. It's just too long. It's just too much. Like half the games are on a Tuesday night. Like I just got stuff to do. I just got stuff to do, man. But football works out great because it's just that one day a week, you know. Let's see. Yesterday was the hottest Green Bay home game ever. Ugh, that is miserable. I know the Tennessee Seahawks game, they were saying it was like basically 100 degrees on the field, which is just not how you play football. It's supposed to be icy and cold. G-Bear says, the Seahawks lost me 9K. They passed when they had the best runner. Oh, it's 9K. To beat the Pats in the Super Bowl. If you had a line on to make $9,000 off the Seahawks winning that Super Bowl, feel free to check out the Patreon page. If you're throwing down bets, if you're throwing down money, feel free to go to the Patreon page and throw $9 or $10 on there. I guarantee you I will show up and actually do the show. That's the reward. Honestly, the reward is to do the show. I don't have any other way to fund this realistically because we here don't like commercials. We don't like commercials. We don't like things in the way of us being able to just watch videos and stuff like that. I had to watch like 15 commercials because I was trying to catch up on some YouTubery that I needed to catch up on, some YouTube videos that I needed to catch up on, and I had to watch like 15 commercials. And all I want to do is just punch myself in the teeth when yeah, it's like a truck commercial. It's like stop. I just can't do it. So one of the things here is that this is fan funded, right? This is fan funded, and so I need your guys' help in order to keep making this show. Realistically, I know that I talked about it on Friday that I turned down a huge job next month in order to focus on doing this stuff. So that's where a lot of you guys come in. Is you know, it's one of those things. If 300 people watch this show, if 500 people, if 1,000 people watch this show, just this one. And everybody chipped in $1, we'd be able to fund it and do bigger projects like Jordan is saying there. How about some spoof commercials? I am currently working on cataloging a bunch of footage that I have to do more produced videos. I don't have the time to do it right now because I'm just honestly got to pay the mortgage and that kind of stuff. So I'm focusing on paying the mortgage and making sure that that my lady's happy and all that kind of stuff, and working on all this stuff. So that's the reason for the Patreon, and you know, you guys fan funding it or not. YouTube Red also gives you music. I finally have a teenager who appreciates my playlist. Well, it's one of those things that, like, a lot of people out there have been signing up for YouTube Red, and honestly, YouTube Red is hugely helpful to all of the you know, if whoever's creating on YouTube, YouTube Red is wildly helpful in regards to contributing towards the creators. You know, just to give you guys a slight look under the hood here, I guess, is that the YouTube Red revenue, it pays out if people just watch it, you know, and there doesn't have to be any commercials or any of that kind of stuff. I'm not adding any commercials. We're getting close to just turning off all of the commercials, and I don't want them to be around anymore. So either way, that's what's going on. But we are at the point where we're going to go to the video. Oh, Nick K says to support that I deserve it. I don't know that I deserve it, but I will keep working hard. That is, I don't know that I deserve it, but I will keep working hard to keep doing it. Oh, thanks a lot. I'd pay YouTube $100+ a month if they had a troll filter included in the package. Just imagine YouTube without trolls altogether. Well, that's another good reason to fund the show here. You will be protected from trolls by some of our lovely moderators around here, like Nisi and Carson, and I don't know where Gillett is and all the other guys, but we always have moderators around here to help at least there not be trolls on this channel. So, you know, that's worthwhile. So anyhow, we're getting on to the video portion here. Aquaman has a quick question. Let's run to it real quick. Quick question. Got a piece of Mopani recently. Was covered in reptile poop, bird poop. Any suggestions on how to clean it and get it tank ready? Yes. Boil it in water. First off, I would boil it in water, scrape it clean, spray it down with a little bit of hydrogen peroxide, and then boil it again. And you'll be good to go. All right. Oh, video, it's the video. All right, so I guess here in the beginning of the video, you guys are going to get a good idea of the finished stand, and with the sump set in it to test the size and make sure that everything is fit correctly. I think you guys saw me slap some of the trim on there on Friday. You guys can see the corner closest to us there has a bit of a gap, but no worries. I'm not worried about that. That just is from a bend in the wood. That will be fixed during the finish process. Now, I wasn't so worried about the fit with the wood there because this trim is going to be black. This trim is going to be black, 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 black. Now, one of the upsides to staining something like this black, I can actually fill that gap right there really easily with some silicone mixed with some sawdust, and then just paint it up black, and you'll never really know that it's there. It won't be that big of a deal. This is the wood stain I was going to use, but I needed to pigment this up a little bit because realistically, when I opened the can, it is not the gray I was expecting. I was expecting a much darker gray, which I don't know where that can went. It must be it must be somewhere. It must be a darker black stain somewhere in all of my crazy paints. To be honest with you guys, I spent about 45 minutes rummaging around trying to find it, and I thought this was the one. And then you can see me here going, what the hell? And then I put the cover back on. So I actually I went and got some pigment and tried to pigment it up, but that didn't work. It would not get dark enough, even though I kept adding black to it. I kept adding black to it. I kept adding black to it. I kept adding black to it, and it just never got there. It never got to the point where it was going to be black enough that it was going to be black enough to match the other stand next to it. So the other stand right next to it is sort of the template that I'm following here, because that is Vicky's stand that I made for her around Christmas time. I think it was a Christmas present that I got for her, and or that I made for her. I think I made her a Christmas present, and so once so that's the stand that I need to match. I need to match that stand, and this gray was not going to be correct. You guys can see me. I keep adding pigment. I keep adding pigment. I keep adding pigment. I keep adding black. I keep adding black, and it just stays gray. I can't even tell you. Either my pigment is too old or something. It just was one of those times where I just had to go, you know what? That's not working. I gotta use a different product. So I'm actually using some satin epoxy, which is a cabinet epoxy, and it's an acrylic epoxy, which I wouldn't normally use for this application because I'd actually want the wood stain, but this is the other material that I had. So as we go through the painting here, you guys will see me paint and I'll put it on, and then you'll see how I kind of give it that weathered look so that it does look and match the stand next to it. This stuff is pretty easy to work with. It's really not all that difficult to work with. You just need like a little 4-inch roller or something along those lines that you're able to maneuver around pretty well. Although this stuff is really, really runny. It is barely thicker than water, so you do have to be a little bit careful with it dripping onto stuff. Luckily, I'm working on a almost 100-year-old concrete shabby floor, so that wasn't a big issue because I can just basically clean it off. You can just see me bumping that all over the stand there. Not a big deal. That's where the door is going to go. So as you can see here, I apply it, and through the magic of film, I think I was off camera there for a little while, and then just immediately appeared to be back on. Let it dry for, you know, basically like let it dry for about 5 minutes, and then you know, with the grain, I'm actually using a clean towel to remove some of the excess material, and then it ends up looking, it ends up coming through looking nice and weathered and beat up and stuff like that. Am I fired for the bumps? Why am I fired for the bumps? What bumps? Like, I'm fired because I got zits, or what? I got a crazy zit right here, and it's driving me nuts. But either way, this epoxy I was not expecting to come out as nice as I thought it was going to, but it actually turned out working out really, really well. And it actually just kind of almost exactly matches the stand next door. If I had just rolled it on and left it like this, it would not look right. It would not match the one. It would not match the stand next to it. So luckily, with just a little bit of technique, I'm gonna make it match the stand next to it, and worked out pretty well. Oh, Dwayne Kitchell says, worked 30 years in painting, and I'm fired. Okay, well, I was hired by me, so I think I'm still hired. I didn't even get paid for this, guys. Nobody even paid me to do this. This is just me building stuff in my garage. So, you know, I think I'm going to be all right. I think I'm still employed. Oh, Mateo is here from Idaho. Yes! That's where I want to live, you guys. I want to live in Idaho. Am I supposed to sue myself? What did I do? I don't understand what happened here. Either way, I'm not 100% what happened, what I screwed up on. Y'all, I don't know. Apparently I got to fire and sue myself, which will be fine. I'll fire and sue myself tonight, but I guarantee you I'm going to wake up tomorrow, and then I'm going to be all over it. Sue myself for back pay. Trust me, I take enough breaks that I'll be all right. I think the overlord that is me, I think I'll be all right. Olympia Shrimps I was asking, do I ever worry about paint fumes around my tanks? Yes, I do. I generally used to be really concerned about paint fumes around my tank. But so the old shop, the old fish room that I worked in was also my shop back in West Seattle, and I was always concerned about paint fumes and stuff like that until it got wildly cold outside, and there was just, I had no other option other than to work in my shop with my fish tanks and do a bunch of painting and stuff. And the reality was nothing really happened. I just ventilated the room so that I wouldn't die, and everything worked out really well. Right now, in my fish room right there, when I'm doing all this stuff, yes, I had the garage door open to vent, well, just the shop door, and then those of you that watch the videos of me building this fish room know that there is a vent in this room that is on 24 hours a day, venting fresh air, just drawing fresh air out, so I can actually just open the door that you walk in and just leave it open, because the weather is definitely nice enough right now. Then in the winter, I can open the other door that opens up into the shop and ventilate that way if there was anything like this that I had to do. And I basically would just start up the I'll start up the wood stove, and that will draw in a ton of fresh air and push out the fumes outside. So it is a little bit weird, and it is something that I worry about. I worried about for quite a while, but honestly, these days I'm just not worried about it that much. Just because I've never seen any kind of downside. I always thought something might happen, but nothing ever did. I never had anything going crazy, realistically. Oh, I can't stick it to the man if I am the man? Oh, that is a good point. That is a really good point, you guys. If I am the boss, I can't ever stick it... Wait, well, no, actually, I think I can. I think if I'm the boss, I can stick it to myself for sure. But I don't know. It might be kind of self-deprecating if I'm constantly karate chopping myself and, you know, like taking extra breaks and stuff, right? But... I don't know. I enjoy it. I enjoy my life, you guys. It is difficult and pretty stressful, honestly, to try and make ends meet and all that kind of stuff. But I really do enjoy it. It is hard. It is hard, but good. There's all sorts of cool things that come with all this craziness that I'm constantly doing. And I'm very lucky to be able to do a lot of this stuff. For instance, like going to Chicago for the aquatic experience, that's going to be a ton of fun. It's also going to be work. I'm going to be filming as much as I can out there. So that's like a perfect example of some of the crazy stuff that I get to do, and you know, I'm eternally humbled. I'm regularly humbled. I'm regularly humbled with my humility. But hopefully we can just keep this train a rolling and keep making this stuff, keep building stuff, keep learning about stuff, and keep sharing experience and stuff like that. This one part that I was actually staining at the end of that video there was the door. So you guys will get a good look at the door tomorrow, and the rest of the thing, now that it's all dry and stuff like that. I spent all day today, well, not all day, I spent all day today, no, I did a bunch of stuff today, but one of the things that I did with filming today was cleaning the tank and getting everything prepped and ready for the plumbing tomorrow. So like I said, we're going to be plumbing this 150 in tomorrow, hopefully flooding it tomorrow, and getting that stuff going. Let's see. Is this room weather insulated? Barutu is asking. Yes, this room is 100% weather insulated. It is outside in the building out there. We definitely, it's the royal we. It was me and God. Royal we. We built the, I built out the fish room that is there, and it is really heavily insulated. So I'm looking forward to running it through this winter to see how things go. If hopefully everything works out, I might be stripping the rest of the building and rebuilding the walls to insulate the rest of the shop at some point. Vicky and I have been talking about possibly doing that, but that has moved down the list because we have other more important projects to do here, like the greenhouse and the aquaponics and the pond, which I'm getting jacked to start being able to start working on that stuff. We also have to replace some of the knob and tube in the house here and the rest of the electrical that I haven't done yet, but we're going to be doing that. I'll definitely make some videos of me crawling around and show you guys, just to give you guys some ideas that well, not to give you all crazy ideas, but to give you all an idea of what it's like to do some of that stuff, and some of the stuff you guys can definitely do yourselves with a little bit of planning and a little bit of paying attention and stuff. You can definitely do some of these improvements on your house. Save yourself a lot of money from hiring a dude like me or whatever down the road, if you're so willing to do whatever. Let's see here. Let's see. At Tanksalot, imagine lead fishing weights are more like hard-boiled sweets. Gotta suck 'em. What? Two things I love most in life: breathing paint fumes and chewing on lead fishing weights. Sarcasm, some of the truth, mostly sarcasm. Honestly, I used to chew on lead fishing weights when I was a kid. I wonder if that may be part of my problem at this point in time in my life. I don't know. The doctor assured me that that's just me being paranoid, but I used to do that when I was a kid. I used to chew on lead fishing weights for whatever reason. But they were saying that was different lead than what was in the paint. I don't know, but we probably could. It probably could be one of my issues. That is a nice cherry stain. Now you can sell that for twice the price of the board. Yep. Now that it's stained, I could resell it. I could resell the board for twice the price. Ashley says I'm probably the most humble. I don't know. I don't know if I'm the most humble. I think Gandhi's got me beat. That guy was super talented and super smart, and he got me beat with the humility, I think. Just off the top of my head. Let's see. There's something about chewing on lead that is oddly satisfying. Too bad it's poisonous and nearly deadly. You know what? I have to agree with you on that. That it is oddly satisfying. That is for sure. Only knob and tube is no fun. It's just behind changing lath and plaster. Yes, this house here, lath and plaster, and some leftover knob and tube, which will be coming out, and is fairly simple to do if you're pretty handy. If you're pretty handy with a little, if you're pretty handy with a with just some willingness to do some work, you can actually replace a lot of knob and tube fairly easily, and work your way through it. And Gone Mad with the super chat surprises. You gotta come in with the super chat surprises there on a Monday. Thank you very much. I totally appreciate Gone Mad's support for sure. I've been working on his painting over there, which I so want to be done because I just so want to fucking show this thing off. And it's just over there, not done. And I just keep working on it, and I just keep working on it, and I keep going, and I'm not done yet. But I have been plowing away on Eric's painting here. I'm so stoked to send that one off. I'm got most of the shrimp paintings. If anybody has been noticing, those shrimp paintings are be going out to the patronizers very, very soon. Those are the original patronizers that were chipping in on funding the show and stuff. So that's what's up with that. All right, so we have some fan questions, and let's see, the top fan question here, the community comments. Let's see. Oh, okay. Well, the top question is from Olympia Shrimpery, but we have a couple of quick ones to get through real quick here. Techniques Geeks Gaming HD says, good video, lose the intro. I can answer that with a one-answer question. No. Adam Jonas was watching a really old video and said that this shit cracked me up. I watched that video and realized how chaotic my life was 6 years ago, and yes, I get the humor in it. Definitely humorous. Definitely a chaotic mess. So appreciate it, Adam Jonas, and watching those old videos. That's for sure. For the Tank Boy was saying that I'm a very kind man, and with a voice like that, you should be a radio DJ. Radio is a dying, 100% dying format, so I think we're on the road to doing a much better program than a radio DJ. The last thing I want to do is play Nickelback and Modest Mouse back to back, same 8 songs all day long. That is not something I want to be involved in, which is why I make an hour-long show here with video in the middle and all the kind of crazy nonsense we do here with you guys all talking and everything. Oh my God, Jordan Leroy reminds me of the podcast. So if anybody's familiar with the community tab, hold on, I'm going to get it out on my phone here. So I put up a poll on the YouTube community tab on the homepage here. What the heck? What's going on here? All right, hold on. This thing's not loading right. Of course, it's not loading right once we're live, right? So I have to go to that, then I have to go to that, then I have to go to this. All right. So I actually put a, and I've got it right here. What's the totals? So I actually put a poll. This is the word we're looking for. A poll up in regards to who is interested in podcast format. And it was basically right down the middle. Out of 115 votes, basically right down the middle, that there, because there was 10% that said, maybe, I don't know. There's just kind of people, 10% in the middle, and then basically 45%, no, and 45% yes. So that realist, thank you everybody for getting on there and voting. It's super cool to like, to put something up like that, and you guys, you know, voting and chiming in and saying what's up and stuff like that. It was super cool. But that was basically the answer I was looking for. So we're going to be, I keep saying we all the time. I don't know, it's me and that painting back there. We're going to be working on putting together some podcasts, okay? Now, one of the things with that is that I can't do a podcast by myself, honestly. I just don't know. I mean, I could do a podcast myself. I just don't think it would be interesting enough. I think it would lack any of the fun stuff that this show here has. I think we'd end up losing. I think we would lose the je ne sais quoi. You know what I mean? Like the essence of this show that we do here that has a lot of the cool stuff in it. So I'm working. I'd like to say that I'm working day and night, 24 hours a day, running around in the streets. You know, no, I'm working on getting some people together to do a podcast, and there is something in the works in order to get that going. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I am going to start to get you guys a little bit aware of the fact that there will be a podcast coming up, and I know that like half of you say no, but half of you say yes, and that's something that you're excited to maybe be able to tune into. That's something more accessible because you could download it to your phone and you know, listen to it while you're driving around, and it won't be just me. So we'll actually have a few. We'll have guests and stuff on that podcast, which would be cool. I also want to get guests here on the live stream, but we're working on figuring all that stuff out. You know, so you know, the more people can patronize and that kind of stuff, then hopefully I can motivate somebody with some money and get them to come up and start coming on to the show more often. And AMA Aquatics is just making it rain, throwing up the $1 the $1 stripper the stripper monies. Very much appreciate it, because those are English, those are pounds, you guys. So you know, you're throwing up them stripper dollars, those are them pounds, right? The English pounds got the little L in front of them, the little pound thing, whatever that thing is. I don't know what the history is behind on that thing. And now that I just admitted I don't know the history behind that symbol, I'm gonna have to look it up after the dealie here, after the show. And Steven Skoglund was late, or maybe not too late. Maybe you made it in just in time. I don't know. Let's see here. Okay, let me try to catch up on the chat here a little bit. Podcasts are much better when there's more than one person talking. Yeah, so that's one of the big things is that I'm trying to get somebody that's willing to come and do the back and forth production of a podcast. So I met with one of the guys yesterday that may or may not want to be doing that. We'll also have some other plans coming up as far as a podcast format being released at some point in time. It won't be this show. It'll actually be a separate show unto itself. I realistically don't think that it's necessarily worth it for me to turn this into just grabbing the audio from this and then putting it up, because I realistically believe that it would lose a lot. You would lose a lot from this show if it was just the audio. I know a lot of people listen to just the audio, but you know, if you know what I'm saying, does that make sense? I think if we just turned this into a podcast, I don't think it would have necessarily what was needed. So the podcast will actually be a separate show. Like I said, that I'm working on getting some talent, air quote talent, to come on and do that stuff. So if that makes sense. If I have a mouse in my pocket. Speaking of a mouse, I had a mouse situation yesterday when we were harvesting our potatoes, so that was a little bit crazy. Oh, and Gone Mad with the super chat, and AMA with the Making It Rain chats. I like the Making It Rain stripper dollars. It's pretty fun. Yeah, so that's one thing that I wanted to talk about because I did the poll this weekend, so I wanted to get to it. Let's see. Mary Beth Mabe saying, with a podcast with others be like a conference call between you, Corey, Dustin, Rachel, Joey, and others. There's a possibility that format might work to be able to do that. But I don't think that Rachel or Dustin or Joey want to talk to me on the phone. It'll probably end up being some other YouTubers that are out there. I know that Corey probably would be down for it, unless I really offended him last time we hung out. I don't think that we did. I don't think that I did. So I think there's probably some other kind of projects coming down the pipe with Corey and Jimmy at some point in time. We'll see how that goes. I know Bob Steenfot, which I think Steenfot just went live, I think. Somebody had sent out, I think he goes live at 5 on Mondays, I think. I'm not 100%. I know Nisi's on keeping track of that. Yeah, Steenfot goes live like right now at like 5 o'clock. So, but he had mentioned last time I talked to him that he would be interested on possibly either me coming on his show or him coming on my show. He had mentioned that the audio is much better on my show than his. So thank you very much to Bob for sure. I'm probably gonna once this is over, I'll probably be over in Steenfot after this. I'm not sure. I might have to go work on some stuff. So that's probably. I might go over there. I might not. I don't know. But I like his stream is pretty good. Let's see. Rattling a change purse in that G-string. All right. Oh, pounds sterling. Yeah. Okay. So that's what the little thing stands for. It stands for pounds sterling. Well, I knew that it was a sterling. A pound of sterling silver, right? But I never understood what the symbol means. I don't understand what the symbol means. The crazy L with the line through it of the English pound. English pound. So let's see. Get Michael's Fish Room on, and he can argue about what is real football. I don't know. I might get on with Michael's at some point in time. I do believe that the like across the planet live streams don't necessarily work all that well. But I would be happy to when I go out into the world, I wouldn't mind going on to some people's shows if that is something that people are interested in. But currently, I am here, so that's what I'm trying to work out. And one of the guys, Sean, I was talking to, he might be coming down to do some podcast stuff, and he's just an interesting fellow that we have a great time going back and forth talking about stuff. So he might be one of the podcast guys, but we'll see. It really comes down to people if they're willing to actually show up or not. So that's one of the realities is trying to, get people's time. You generally kind of have to pay them in order to do it or whatever. Oh, okay, let's see. And the weekly space hangout and astronomy cast, which you work on. Oh, a lot of podcasters stream their cast on YouTube first, then strip the audio out for podcast feed. Yeah, Jim, I agree. There are a lot of people doing that, but I generally have an issue, except for with a couple of podcasts that do that. One of the big issues is that I have with that is, like, especially with this show, that we would lose a lot of the content if we just took this audio and then turned it into a podcast. I think it would lose a lot. I think it would lose a lot, and it would just be this one, it wouldn't make a lot of sense. It wouldn't make a lot of sense if we just took this audio and then just played the audio on a different platform. I don't think it would really cross over to make a lot of sense. One of the podcasts that does get broadcasted on YouTube Live that I listen to pretty religiously is Joe Rogan's podcast, the Joe Rogan Experience, right? But there isn't a whole ton of stuff that happens in the room when they actually do the podcast itself. So there is occasionally that they'll do something up on the screen or whatever, and I will never really know what happened, what they were looking at. And I could always go back and do if I wanted to. But there isn't a whole lot going on there as far as like the video wise. And here, I think when I do the YouTube and do this show, is that there is a lot of stuff in the video that when I'm talking about it, if you aren't necessarily watching the video, you're missing a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Because there are certain times where I just go, there's me doing a thing. Huh? What am I doing? And it doesn't necessarily create a picture in people's minds, if that makes sense. So, but the surprises would always be around. Jordan Leroy is saying podcasts have a lot more structure, whereas this is more about interaction. That's a great point. This is about the interaction. It's one of the reasons I like doing this show this way instead of just making videos where all right, so this is like one of the weird YouTube talk things that come up from time to time, but I could potentially make a bunch of ad money and have a ton of views or whatever if I just sat here and just made tons and tons of videos of me sitting in front of my aquarium and talking about, hey, here's how you need to turn on your filter. You plug it into the wall over here, and then the water goes through, and we gotta prime it up, and then we gotta da-da-da, and Blue's Clues will be here later. Whoop! I could really do that. I end up feeling like an empty. I feel really empty after producing stuff like that, where it's like, here's this video where you're gonna learn and do, and I like watching those kinds of videos, but personally for me, when I create those 4-minute videos or whatever, and they do make a lot more money for me if I wanted to do that, I would do that, but this is way more interactive, a lot more fun, and I feel like a lot more informative for people that actually want to learn stuff. There are a ton of people out there with those 3-minute videos that is, here's how you use a wrench. Wrench. Okay, we're good. See you later. I feel like this is way better material for everybody out there, because I think it's not only is it like it's today's video, it's what's going on. Today is September 25th, 2017. This is going to be today's video, and this is going to be it. You guys can click around and see stuff later on, but it's also interactive. So if people are really having problems, you all can send in stuff, and I can answer them without necessarily just typing in a little bit of an answer. Which reminds me, I forgot to answer the crystal shrimp question I got from Olympia Shrimpery. She is gathering the supplies, starting a 40-gallon high-tech planted tank. I'm considering stocking it with only crystal shrimp. My question is, how necessary is Rhody remineralized water to have success with these shrimp? My tap water parameters, the TDS is coming at 65, the pH is at 6.5, KH is at 75 parts per million, DKH is at 4, and GH is at 4 to 2.4. Are these close enough, or do I really need Rhody? Run my cherry shrimp on tap water with crushed coral and sodium bicarb added to bring up TDS, KH, and pH, and they live and breed very well. Also, do I have to be careful picking plants that can take soft water? If you answer these questions in a video, please direct me to it. Hopefully Olympia Shrimpery is still here, and I don't know, I haven't seen any chat from her in a while, so hopefully she's still here. If not, we will have to remember that we're at the 1 hour and 10 minute mark, and we're gonna run over this question real quick before we get to the end of the video here. Yeah, that's right, Jordan Leroy. Mateo is asking, what's the name of the painting? It was called Molecules, but we renamed it the Peeping Tom. The molecular structure of peeping toms. We renamed it on the stream. That works. Okay, Olympia Shrimps is here. I'm glad to hear that she's here, and we won't have to tell her. So we won't have to tell her and email her back and just say, all right, so first off, I would say that your water quality is pretty close to what needs to be. I wouldn't worry too much about getting a Rhody, but the one thing that I would worry about a little bit is that your TDS being at 65. That may or may not be a problem. Now, the easy thing with that is that your water is really close to my water, and our water is really close to running shrimp very easily, especially crystal shrimp and stuff like that, because we have nice, soft, fairly clean water here. With the GH is about right, and your KH is about right too, which is not going to be a huge problem with where those are reading. Where the problem might be is that the TDS being at 65, because we're not exactly sure exactly what the TDS is, because it stands for total dissolved solids. It becomes pretty confusing to people, because what is the total dissolved solids? It's like, well, it's a bunch of solids that are in the water, so we don't know exactly what those are. So what I would recommend essentially is a push filter like the one that I built for my fish room, which is, it looks a lot like a Rhody unit. It has the 3 canister filters on it. Each one of those canisters are really easy to find on Amazon. I'll probably find the link for Jean and send it to her at some point in time. And you can actually just plumb that up into a hose. It's actually pretty simple. And so the big thing that you're looking for is just get the particulates out, and the DI is what you're really looking for. The deionization filter is what you're looking for in there. That's going to be the important part, because that's going to grab any of those weird particulates that may be the TDS, right? That's making up the TDS. You won't really need the RO part of that filter situation. So I would basically just go with a charcoal and a DI and possibly a sediment, or you could just probably get away with the 2, with the DI and the charcoal, and you're gonna be plenty well along the down the road where you want to be. That's the filter I'm going to be using for my crystal shrimp when they come in. One of the big reasons for that is that we don't need the RO here, specifically in the area where we're at, because there aren't a lot of salts or any of that kind of stuff in our water. Our water actually comes in really clean as far as the salts and all that kind of stuff go, and we're pretty good to go. You won't need a Rhody, and you could emulate the filter that I have. The great thing about the filter that I have is no wasted water, and it is much faster than an RO unit. I'm able to do, you know, a 60-gallon water change with that filter in about 8 minutes or somewhere around that line, instead of 60 gallons taking 16 hours to make. So that's really the thing. That's one of the really big benefits too, and it's much cheaper. Well, I don't know that it's much cheaper. The RO part you don't even have to buy, but the filters are about the same from price wise. But I always just source those on Amazon, buy them in bulk, and they come in pretty cheap. So that's. Hopefully I answered that question and didn't make it weird. Mateo just found baby shrimps in the Reely tank and says cigars for everyone. Olympia Shrimp saying, so you don't add any minerals? No, I don't. I don't add minerals. Actually, the only minerals that I add is calcium block to my sump, which I just totally spaced right when I was going to answer that question. And the almond leaves and stuff like that I add into the sump, and that generally is going to be enough mineralizing of the water in a much simpler way than constantly measuring out minerals and all that kind of stuff. It's the easier way that I've learned how to do it, just from personal experience with our water here in Western Washington. A perfect example of somebody who has completely different water would be like Flip Aquatics. His water is night and day completely different than the water here. So the advice that I would give him is completely different than the advice I would give somebody who's right near me here with the water quality that we have. We actually have really nice water quality. So Rob has a giant RO tower now because he's doing all that with his big warehouse that he's doing. So the water quality that he has there is way worse than the water quality that we have here. Especially for keeping shrimp. And he could probably just keep cichlids just straight off tap water wherever he's at. Where he's at, he could probably just keep cichlids off of the tap and be fine. But out here would not work. Olympia is asking, do you use active substrate? Yes, I currently use a mixture of Fluval stratum and it's in my head, fluorite red. I use the red variety of fluorite as a base. All right, well, we're at the 1 hour and 16 minute mark, and I'm going to need to run through the Patreonizers here. If you guys missed, hopefully going to the Patreon page and helping it out. The long-term goals here, I have changed. I kind of redid the intro on the Patreon page itself. I changed it a little bit to kind of explain a little bit of what our long-term goals here is. One of the local guys here that is handicapped, as the local group, people have been kind of donating money to help get a reef tank in that guy's house, and it sort of made me think about sort of what I want to do long term. And long term, one of the things that I want to do is being able to go to people's houses and help them with their aquariums, being able to shoot video of it. The return for me would be able to shoot the video, right, and have material. Okay, so I would have like material for the show and that kind of stuff of going like, hey man, we went out to Yakima and there was a broken aquarium or whatever and we fixed it and and that kind of stuff. That's realistically the long-term goal, and also to like help out people that may be in need of it and stuff like that. Because when I was over at Ashley's house helping them drill the tank and stuff, they did help pay me for my day and that kind of stuff. So but in the future, hopefully if this show is generating enough traction and that kind of stuff that in the future I'd just be going to do that and just like kind of, surprise, like showing up at people's houses like, I'm here to fix your shit, it's broken, haha, and I don't know, do that kind of stuff. So that realistically is why the header on the Patreon has changed a little bit, and maybe or may not be confusing to a couple of people. Right? So one of the cool things about the Patreon is that you can put in a custom amount. You can put in whatever custom amount that you like. And we have a brand new Patreonizer, Mr. Gone Mad himself at $39.99 a month, putting in the custom amount, taking the place of whoever the patronizer was that decided to no longer patronize over the weekend. Like I said, I'm not going to say who it was that decided to no longer patronize, even though I haven't even been charged yet because it's not the end of the month. even though it's not the end of the month, because the Patreon page here is a once a month. At the end of the month, you get charged once. It's not like per video or any of that kind of stuff. Ashley saying it could be like Extreme Home Makeover. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, something along those lines, like something in there kind of doing that kind of stuff. You know, like whatever that fish tank show is, the tanked one. Like, I watched a couple episodes of it, and I just got so tired of it because it was immediately just famous people, like with these terrible famous people tanks, and it just got the format there got super old, because it's like, I don't care if Marshawn Lynch or a casino in Las Vegas or something has like a terrible fish tank in it. It just doesn't seem all that cool to me, and the story doesn't seem that cool. So I don't know if it's the same as that or anything. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. I'm getting to the point where I'm just rambling on or whatever. But Extreme Aquarium Makeover would be probably pretty close to something like that. All right, let's see here. The patronizers shout out here at the end of the video. Let's go. Let's start at the top. The aquarium co-op at $250 a month, which is crazy, but very much appreciated. I don't know if anybody's ever going to top that. Steven Scogland at the $20 mark. Steven Scogland's at the $40 mark. Oh my God. Yeah, multiple guys at the $40 mark. Eric Gone Mad at the $30.99. The Fishy Mailman at the $20 mark. Sashimi Whiskey at the $20 mark. Long Woo at the $20 mark. At the $10 down here, we got Joel Gillett, Pax, Vince Grippa, Denzel Gregory, Nick K. Aquatics, Rob Hicks, Matt Gilmet, Jack Betts, Cichlid Bro, and our very first patronizer. A shout out to the M. Den Hollander. He'll always have that as long as he stays at it. At the $5, not to be disregarded with the $5 people, Jennifer J. Sarchicino, Pamela Earlywine, Bracken Ward, Kevin Keener, Candy Overhauls, Addison Nishijima, Jim Meeker, Karen Halber, Eve Deigel, Kevin Hayes, Gene Fensky, and Karen KZ Ellis. Woo! How does he get through it? I don't know. At the $1 mark, we've got AMA Aquatics, Matthew Weger Hagerton, Theodore Schultz, Priscilla MK, Jeff Jackson, Thomas Don Check, Nisi of the North, 3D Reefer, and Matthew. Awesome. It is so cool, and I'm gonna be brutally honest with you guys, because there's not a whole lot of people left here. I think everybody's kind of wandered off and got tired of me rambling on about nothing. But one thing I wanted to mention to you guys is my mom says thank you. I actually showed her the Patreon page the other day, and I said, hey, here's the patronizers that are these are all the people that are sponsoring the show. And my mom's jaw pretty much hit the floor. You know, there's really not a better feeling in the world than impressing your parent with how well the projects that you're working on are going. And I want to say an extra special thank you to everybody out there who is supporting this channel and supporting the show. And it's really amazing. And it was just quite the moment where my mom was super stoked. And you know, I'm almost 40 years old, and that feels great when my mom is super happy with how well things are going. So the sky's the limit here. The goals are huge. I know the goals are huge. They're super huge, which is why it's like everybody at the $1, the $5, the $10, all that kind of stuff is so cool. It adds up, and hopefully we'll be able to keep doing more and more crazy big stuff here coming up. Right now we've got the aquatic experience coming up, along with some other projects which I'm super stoked on, but I can't tell you about that. But I spent all of our money on a 150-gallon aquarium. So now I got to try and recoup and I got to figure out how to pay my mortgage here in the next couple days. So mad props to everybody, and thank you very much. And let's get down to the end here, because I got to go do some stuff and get ready for whatever. All right. Later. button. I gotta find the button, you guys. I gotta find this button.